What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me. Eli Caberon with me as well. We're talking Bears first. We're going to get into a massive W. Go up to Boston, bury Bill Belichick and the Patriots. We're going to talk about that. Justin Fields, easily the best game of his career by far. I think we can talk about Eberflus and the staff's best game by far. We're gonna get into the hits and the whole W in Boston from the Bears. Then Eli's gonna dip, and then me and Big Nick the Quick are gonna talk about the rest of the NFL. We're gonna talk about NBA Week 1, and that will take us far in a way through an hour. Make sure you stay with us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We are locked in.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
What's up, fellas? Little Victory Monday. Bears get a massive W on the road. Let me start by saying this. That was the most miserable Bears game I've ever watched on a personal level. Let me tell you why. The whole week, I have multiple legs of teasers tied into the Patriots. I just think there's no way that we could go up to Boston and get a W. It's just not going to happen. It's just not even a feasible option. Patriots coming off their best game of the year. They go to Cleveland, blow those guys up. Zappy is still playing quarterback. We're figuring out the whole Mac Jones thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just like not really worried about losing this money. And the game starts, and I'm instantly in trouble. I'm instantly miserable. It wasn't like, I had a shot. My bet was dead, and I couldn't even enjoy my squad play the best game of their young season. New staff, new everything. Eli K, I'm coming to you first. How'd you feel about the game? Bears got a big W on Monday night. Now, finally, we get a national TV spot where we don't get embarrassed and we actually embarrass somebody else.
Yeah, I got to say, Sean, I don't have any sympathy for you. That was great. I enjoyed every second of that game. Oh, well, minus the 15-minute stretch where it looked like Bailey Zappi was like actually good. And then he reverted back to his Western Kentucky self. No, I mean, I'm in an eliminator pool, and I purposely did not choose the Patriots because I was like, I'm not rooting. Head and heart, you got to be synced, and I was not about to do that. But no, that was a great performance. The Justin Fields balled out, like you said, best performance of his career. I thought the coaching staff put him in position to succeed. Nick and I talked about it last week. Like, give him rollouts, give him quick screens, give him designed runs, let him do his thing, like work to his skill set instead of putting a square peg in a round hole type thing. And then shout out to the defense. That was lights out in the second half. They did not let up an inch. You saw every single level of the defense make plays. Jaquan Brisker had that awesome pick. Roquan had an awesome pick. The defensive line was getting after it. So just a great all-around win and a nice surprise on a primetime game to not be embarrassed midway through the game.
Big Nick.
So look, man, I've told you this a million times. That's why I never bet on my teams. Like that's one of my long-standing rules, especially in the NFL. Like maybe on the Bulls game because each game isn't as much life or death. But I couldn't imagine being in a situation watching that game last night and rooting for it to go the other way, right?
It's nasty stuff.
It's hard. Yeah, very nasty for me to watch that game and not want it to continue to be awesome. So I don't feel for you either. You know my feeling on stuff like that. The most I'll maybe do is put the Bears in like one of our pick-em picks. And even that, I don't even like it. I just want to watch the game. It's already an emotional enough experience. Look, man, I don't know where to start. Obviously, we've seen the Bears win before. This isn't the first time we've ever seen the Bears win the game. But I know
it feels like it. Hold on. I'm going to stop you right there because when we've been winning the last few years, it's been like a game-winning field goal, 17, 15. Like I don't know. I can't remember the last time we had an actual W on the road in a spot like this.
Yeah, so far this year, there's been 2 wins, obviously, that have stuck out. The week 1 versus San Fran, I think we all felt elated after that one, just getting out there, getting that win, even though it was at home, whatever, right? Just to open up the season that way. And then this one last night, because this was a thorough domination, right? Like, we don't have the weapons to put up 52 points, but with real offensive weapons and with the real team, this is like a 52-14 type victory. We absolutely dominated them. We dominated them from coaching. Like, I got to give Eberflus, Getsy, Williams, all those boys their credit. They have Belichick and all them completely flabbergasted. They had no idea what to do. The entire game, they were playing backwards, whether it was the running plays, whether it was what we were doing on third down where Fields was incredible, whether it was Fields himself just escaping from stuff, making things happen. They started off the game getting Fields out the pocket like we talked about last week. First 2 plays of the game, you're rolling Fields out. You're moving the pocket around. You're having him do what he does best. I thought from there he built up a ton of confidence and never really looked back, right? Couple throws here and there that you can dissect, sure. But overall, when you talk about command of the game and for 4 straight quarters, it's not flashes, it's not moments, it's not a play here, it's not a drive here, it's not a series there. Every single time the Bears lined up on offense, I felt extremely confident in what Fields and they were doing, and Fields looked extremely confident, man. You can go to the Komet throw. You can go to some of the stuff where he was able to escape from a lot of that pressure. Had it not been for Matthew Judon, who played an incredible game, I'm not sure they would have been able to stop us at all. Like, straight up. That's how dominant I felt the Bears were last night from start to finish.
100% Bill Belichick and the Patriots were completely lost on all aspects. They had no idea where the ball was going. We actually talked about this before. I remember saying we're the only team in the league where I think we talked about this earlier in the week. I was watching Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, and I'm like, how come this dude, every time he looks at an option, more times than not, no one's around the option. They're wide open throws. They're easy completions for him. That never happens for the Bears. Last night, on multiple occasions, we were rolling him out, and he was making easy throws. We didn't ask him to make an easy throw. Also, we should never have Justin Fields in the pocket ever. The pocket needs to move every single play. Until he is mature and developed enough to actually do drop back 5 steps, sitting shotgun, whatever pistol you want to call it.
Or until you
RPO,
can protect him.
Until you can protect him or whatever else. Roll him out every play. Bootleg, whatever else you got to do. It was really fun to watch. The third down shit that was going on, that's when I knew I was dead. No matter what happened on third down, we were picking it up. 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8. It didn't matter,
3rd
right?
14,
Yeah. The confidence from Justin Fields was great. I actually, little stuff like this I try to pay attention to, right? So it's still early in the game, but Justin Fields has been having a rough go of it. Like that's not a secret. He scores a touchdown. He's still dancing. He still seems confident. He's still doing his thing. It's not like, finally I get in the end zone. He still expects to make plays and make things happen. So I was very encouraged. And it's funny. I also don't know if I've ever seen an offensive line that is this offensive line in this scheme produce this much rushing success and then have so many questions on the flip side on pass protection.
They can't pass block at all.
Yeah, they can't pass block at all.
Hey.
But if you line these dudes up and tell them to get off the line and move it and get some – move the line of scrimmage and give some guys some space to rush the rock, they can do that really, really well. So it was a very, very impressive win. I'm interested to see if we could start to string it together. I don't know if the Patriots didn't take those guys seriously or what happened, but we got on their ass early and we never let up. Even when it started to flip a little bit, like Eli said, when Cameron came, or not Cameron, not Eli. Eli doesn't play quarterback for the Patriots. But when Zappy came on and flipped it a little bit, it was like, because I don't know about you guys, I kind of felt like, okay, like here we go. Like, looks like they're going to go ahead and turn this around. And the Bears never let up across the board and took care of business. I was thoroughly impressed.
I don't think that they expected the Bears to come out. Obviously, I didn't expect the Bears to come out and score in their first 2 possessions. So I think, like I said, we hit them in the mouth early. That shocked them. That had them playing from behind. And then obviously with the injured Mac Jones, who, look, that Mac Jones interception, we see a lot of egregious picks. Like we talk about it every week, some of the stuff that we see out there. That was one of the most egregious interceptions I've ever seen a quarterback throw. Like he had no business launching that ball. So when you're out there doing shit like that, like they were obviously off their rocker. And outside of that Zappy magic, I think they went up 14-10 after the 2 Zappy drives and never scored again. Didn't do anything the rest of the ball game, just gave up 23 more points. So we 100% caught them off guard. They had no idea what to do. They couldn't stop the run game. And to the third down thing, when you're constantly giving up 3rd and long, these aren't 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and we're grinding out like I formation, short yardage situations. This is 3rd and 14. You're getting to the quarterback because that line is so bad, and he's just escaping from you and breaking off 14-yard runs. Even the Komet throw on 3rd down. Like, come on, man. The Bears are never making that play. Nothing in the film that you've watched of the Chicago Bears has Justin Fields escaping a sack and hitting Cole Kmet on the sideline for a 3rd and 14 conversion, right? So I think when shit like that's happening, man, obviously it was just the Bears' day, but it wasn't luck, man. There was something in the game plan and the way that Getsy was just using different people, even in the run game, the switching between Montgomery and Herbert, even getting Pettis some touches in there. Like, we were just gashing them, and they kind of never took the foot off the gas. Like, I love what we did from the game plan. I love what we did as far as executing it. You would think we threw for 300 yards, only threw for like 170 yards, but they all meant something. When they're 10, 15-yard gains, which, again, we've been crying for in this offense for years, man, that's all we need to see. Like the chunk plays, like all that, man. Like, I've never been more satisfied in the Fields era than I am today, without a doubt.
Yeah, a couple things from the box score that jumped to me. First off, the Bears starting field position on average was the Chicago 42. Like, you put Fields in position where he's not backed up into his own end zone, and he can do some things. Like, I thought a couple weeks ago which game was that? The Vikings game. It took him so long to get going because he was just backed up the whole time. When the defense is playing well, it bleeds into the offense. And speaking of the defense, you talked about that Zappy run. They score 14 points real quick. The crowd's going crazy. After that, here's the Patriots drives. Ends in fumble, punt, interception, end of game. Like, the defense just did not let them do anything after that. But as for the luck thing, the one thing I will point out is that's not sustainable is the Bears had 5 fumbles and recovered all 5 of them. Like, just the law of averages, at some point the ball is going to bounce the wrong way. But the Bears, like, I thought it was what you were saying, Sean, that Fields, when he would make a mistake, when he would fumble the snap, he didn't let that rattle him. He would come right back and make a play. We saw so many times with Mitch Trubisky, one mistake led into a second mistake, led into a third mistake, led into Matt Nagy not trusting him, led into the offense kind of collapsing. Fields screwed up, he dropped a snap, or he would hold on to the ball too long. Very next play, he was right back at it. And you need to see that from a young quarterback. So I was very impressed with what Fields was doing yesterday, because it would have been easy for him in the rain against a team like the Patriots to just tuck it in and say, like, this isn't our day. But he didn't do that. So that's real progress moving forward.
I think that's a big testament to Luke Getsy and the play calls and the offensive game plan that was rattling. Justin knew where he had to go with the ball, or knew what he had to do on every play. That's what's going on in New York with the Giants. Daboll is making it extremely easy for Daniel Jones. Here's option 1. Here's option 2. Run the ball. That's it. There's no room to make mistakes because he's not asking him to drop back and go through all these progressions and break down and read defenses and all this other shit. He's getting Daniel Jones out of the pocket and making him make very easy decisions. A couple of the plays that stood out to me. The screen pass call to Herbert. Amazing, perfect call. Amazing call. Great job. The end around to Pettis. Great call.
Fooled the cameraman.
No one saw that coming. That's an amazing call. There was a lot of just different things. Even as much as you don't like it, Eberflus knew the flow of the game. For example, it was 3rd and 7, and we ran a straight ISO up the middle for like 5 yards to make sure Santos could get in field goal range. Those are the spots you would obviously like to see Justin Fields throw the rock, but I think Eberflus and the gang had the beat on the flow and the game plan, and they knew that they could win. They knew like what they were going to do, and they were confident in it. So that was why they ran the ball, kicked the field goal, and they knew that the Patriots were going to have trouble on offense. So I was very impressed across the board. A lot of the things that you're saying. Also, I gotta give Roquan Smith a shout out. This guy is easily the best defensive player on our team, and he's easily a top 5 linebacker in the entire NFL. He's everywhere, every play, always around the ball. It's just like those are the guys I would love you build the rest of the defense on. Figure out what you need to do to get him re-signed. I don't care about the letter that he dropped or any of that shit. Ryan Poles needs to figure out what he needs to do to keep one of the best young linebackers in the league. And you figure out you build around those foundation pieces, and he's definitely one of them.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Jaquan Brisker as well. I just saw this stat pop up. Through 7 games this year, Jaquan Brisker, 42 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 pick, 1 fumble recovered, and has played all but 1 defensive snap for the Bears.
Yeah, he's everywhere too.
We talked about it last week as far as their draft strategy. If Brisker and Gordon were your top 2 guys, I had no problem with you making that picks because the Bears needed help all over the field. And obviously
the one snap he missed was when he got kicked in the nuts, and then
and came out and got
tweeted like that. I don't know how that was not a penalty. He lifted his leg, but whatever. What I was going to say is like credit also, like we talked about Getsy, but like this mini bye between a Thursday night game and a Monday night game, a lot of teams will do self-scouting, and it's clear that the Bears did that because Nick, we talked last week in that Washington game when Fields threw the interception off dude's helmet. And it's like, you have to be smarter than that. You have to figure out where the angle is. Well, he clearly worked on his launch angles because that screen pass to Herbert, you saw him initially look to throw it over and then he pumped and threw it sidearmed. And like, that's a play that last year Justin Fields would not have made. And he figured out that he needs to change his arm angle on stuff like that. And credit to the Bears for self-scouting and figuring out where his deficiencies are and how he can improve those. So, I see in the chat, someone said, do you think the Bears are tanking this season? I feel like the Bears are, organizationally, we've talked about this, they're not putting the best product on the field. They don't have the most talent. But the guys that are in the locker room and the coaching staff, they're trying to win every single week. And you can see that every week they're trying to get better. And that was an example of that, I thought, in this mini-bye, self-scouting and figuring out how Fields can improve. So credit to them for that.
And just to add on that real quick, on that screen pass to Herbert, right? Because it was some fluky looking shit that it's just like, yo, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And I think that this is kind of another thing we've wanted from Fields. Like, Fields is the best athlete on the field, right? Like, sometimes you go out and you watch Lamar, he's the best athlete on the field. Like, fuck the game plan. For better or worse, you watch Kyler Murray, he's the best athlete on the field. He plays like it, right? Sometimes with Fields, you just want him to do that. And I feel like yesterday was kind of his, fuck it, I'm the best athlete on the field. I'm going to sidearm Mahomes, this kind of shit right here. I'm going to run away from this. I'm going to make, even on the touchdown run he had, someone was breaking it down yesterday. He cut up right at the right time to miss the defender and get into the end zone for that. It's just understanding that I am the best athlete on the field, right? And when push comes to shove, no one is better than me, right? And I think just having that mentality, you saw that several times yesterday, and that goes to that confidence that we're just talking about. Like, look, man, just understand it. Look at some of these other guys that are out there as they're kind of learning and figuring it out, that just understand on certain plays, I'm just better than everybody, and just make the play.
A lot of the hits, or excuse me, a lot of the runs he had yesterday too. I think he had 17 rushes yesterday. I would say he took about 2 hits max. A lot of it was getting out of bounds. A lot of it was was sliding when he needed to. So if we could get him to run and pick up chunk yardage and not take any hits, then that's what needs to happen. And then we're really in business. So, man, it was encouraging stuff. We're at Dallas next week. I was actually thinking about going to Dallas for the game. And I was like, man, why would I spend a bunch of money and go down to Dallas? And we're going to get
what is there to do in Dallas?
I've never been, man. I kind of wanted to check out Jerry's World.
I'm kind of out on Texas as a whole, if we're going to be completely honest.
I'm not mad at that. I think Austin's the most overrated city in the entire
by far.
Country.
Yes,
the love that Austin gets is insane. But
ridiculous.
That's never been. Don't care.
Yeah.
I've been 2 or 3 times, and it's just very overrated, criminally overrated.
And you have a little barbecue, and it's like, all right, this is
it's great.
All right, cool.
But get out.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Like a winnable game, like. The Cowboys aren't. They're good. Their record is good. They have talent, but like I don't see them as a team that the Bears don't match up against. Like it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that the Bears came in there and gave them a fight. I mean, I'm not saying
out of the pocket.
Right. I'm not saying that the team that we saw last night is going to be the team we're going to see every week moving forward, because this is the Chicago Bears after all, and nothing is continued. But again, they have a plan, and if they can commit to running the ball, they can stay in the game against a team like the Cowboys.
Although they're shown they're gonna commit to running the rock.
Yeah,
Like,
run the balls,
this
yeah.
is they're
40,
gonna run
45 rushes yesterday.
They're gonna run the ball.
243 yards.
There's no question.
And you got to be if you thought that Judon was in our face last night, take that, multiply it by 3, and that's Michael Parsons. So as long as you key in on that, and I think like they tried to last night by moving him around, you got a chance because that running game, and like Sean just said, he's an elite runner. Like he's not a good runner. He's not a solid runner. He's an elite runner, right?
Yeah.
Like elite. When he escapes, it's like, oh shit. So like, look, man, use that. But like to Sean's point, just don't get hit. And listen, man. And one thing, real quick, I watch this every week, man. And look, I don't want to get too deep in this, but give my man some flags. I don't know what it is about Fields and Mahomes and some of these other guys that don't get the flag that some of these other guys get. Yeah. Even Mahomes, because it's not pedigree, right? You can say, oh, Fields doesn't have the pedigree of Tom Brady. Well, Patrick Mahomes does, and he doesn't get those calls either. So let's be consistent, because on that screen pass, Justin Fields got sandwiched after he threw the ball.
Yeah.
So I just want to see some consistency in that. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. But elite runner of the football.
No doubt. No doubt. I hope we can continue to move the pocket and just put him in really good situations, because I'm telling you, out here in New York, I'm watching a bunch of the Giants, and literally this guy, Daniel Jones, has one option, maybe two, and it's either run or throw it out of bounds. There's no room for turning the ball over. There's no room for confusion. And he's doing that with no wide receivers. They'd have no one to throw the ball to. They're like in a very similar situation to us, where they have a young mobile quarterback. Fields is younger than Jones, obviously, but continue to move. If you're setting up Justin Fields for failure, if you have him dropping back, standing in the pocket with that offensive line and our weapons on the edge, it's as simple as that. Get him out of the pocket, roll him out, bootleg, naked bootleg. And, you know, I just got to go back to Gitsy, man. It wasn't a lot of when the game started, I was a little worried it was just going to be run, pass, right? Like run, screen. And I'm like, all right, here we go again. And then they started switching it up. They were running play action on first down after a first down. They were running bootleg on first down. They were throwing it on second down. So it was a beautiful performance. And I want to close it on this. Bill Belichick he does not have the juice anymore. I've said this multiple times now. There was just a time, and I think a lot of people were on the Patriots last night, including myself. I kind of fell for it as well, off the lure of Bill Belichick. Monday night, a one-sided offense that's just going to run. Oh yeah, Bill's going to scheme up something for that, and it's going to be all over. We ran the ball for 250. And he knew we were going to run the ball 40 times. He had no answer whatsoever. They did nothing. So I need to stop just using the narrative of Bill Belichick is going to take care of business because he's Bill Belichick, and that shit's not real. That roster's weak over there too. So,
Sean, are you implying that someone that let their offensive coordinator go be the head coach of the Raiders and replaced him with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, who were maybe the two worst coaches of the last decade?
Yes,
you're saying that might have been a mistake.
That's not going to work. If you were watching the telecast, Bill Buck goes. Buck. Joe Buck. My fault. Joe Buck.
Shut up,
Joe Buck says, "Yeah, Matt Patricia.
Yeah,
you know,
he's like a reclamation project.
He used to be here in Foxborough. He called the defense, and now he's calling the offense. It's like,
doesn't work.
Oh, that probably doesn't work too well. Does
problem,
it? Yeah, that's like an issue. So."
They're like, I wonder why Mac Jones isn't progressing. I wonder why. Let's replace Josh McDaniels with Matt Patricia.
So let me ask you guys this. I mean, I know we're not a Patriots breakdown show, but if you're them next week, I don't know if they're buys next week or if they play. If Mac Jones is healthy, do you go Jones or Zappe?
I think they just that decision was already made.
You think it's Zappe?
I think you just saw a guy lose his job in real time last night.
Yeah, but then Zappe was awful.
Yeah, Zappe was trash.
Second half of the game. I mean, he was
I
awful.
think you have to go back to Jones.
Oh man, you do not want to be doing that.
So they have no quarterback. They essentially have no quarterback.
Every half, you're going to go back and forth. I don't know. That's a tough.
Yeah,
That's
they
a tough situation.
put themselves in a box thinking that it would settle themselves, and it didn't
But
work.
who cares? I don't care about the Patriots. I don't care what they do. Like, figure it out. I don't know. I know that Justin Fields just went up to Foxborough where we hadn't won in 20 years and got a W in very dominant fashion.
And like I said, with a better team, that's 52-14. Trust me. There's 2 or 3 more touchdowns that are on there with a better roster.
Okay, let me ask you one more thing before we let Eli go. Do you think we should have tried to punch it in for 40 on the last
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't understand. What was that knee? That was bullshit.
It's just the sportsmanship thing, man.
Dude, that would have been and I told you before the game, 3 touchdowns for Fields. That would have been my 3rd Fields touchdown, man. I was hot. I thought
Eli,
I was
you feel the same way?
Yeah, make a statement. I don't know. Like, why not? You don't have to. You don't see them again for another 4 years. It's not like they're a divisional opponent. Like, go for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm always just put a little exclamation point on it and punch it in.
That's a Flus call 100%, right? That's not Getsy jumping in there being like, all right, yeah. But I mean, look, either way, man, the Bears put up 33 points last night. The Bears scored on their first 2 possessions last night. The Bears beat a team by double digits on prime time on the road last night, and a team that we thought was much better than us. So, man, listen.
It's a good W.
It's a great W. That's what I need. Remember the checkpoints we're talking about? That was a major check in the boxes. Yeah. That's all I needed, baby.
Now let's build off that.
Bear down. Build off that.
Let's build off that. We're on the road next week in Dallas, Jerry's World. The Dallas Cowboys didn't look that good against the Lions. Lions have given up 27 points to every single team they played, except the Dallas Cowboys. And that game easily could have flipped a couple different ways. The Lions fumbled on the one. Dak threw a couple potential pick sixes that were dropped.
It was not a real 24-6. If you watch that game,
it was not
a real 24-6. The Lions were in that game.
Yeah.
They're just
No question. Eli Cabron, thanks for joining us, my boy. I appreciate it, man. Go Bears. You already know. We'll see you later. Later, man. Big Nick the Quick, what's happening, man?
How we feeling?
It's a good W, man.
Man, beautiful W, man. Always feels good to come off the dub. I know your pockets don't feel the same way, but it's all good, man. You live to play another day. You know what I mean?
I was dumb too. When they went up 10-0, it was still even money. I could have had
Are your pockets worse off of the Nuggets 25-point loss, or
bro? Did you watch that game?
Dude, I saw the box.
Yo, I watched that.
I was heavy on that one.
Denver is cruising in the first half, bro. Like they're up at one point 12 or 13. Portland closes the half pretty strong. Anthony Simons comes out in the third quarter, hits 6 threes.
Oh, he's nice.
Yo, he is a pure bucket, pure jump shooter, whatever you want to call it. Anthony Simons went ballistic. Yo, he had, and 6 of them were in the third quarter. He was going ballistic, coming off screens, knocking down everything. Also, say what you want about Nurkic, he gives Jokic problems. Go look at the box scores throughout the last 4 or 5 matchups.
I'm not anti-Nurkic.
Yeah, you are a little bit.
No, I'm not. I'm anti-Nurkic when you have 5 other guys who all they want to do is score and not play defense.
You're a little anti-Nurkic, man.
I'm anti-Nurkic. I'm anti-Nurkic and Cantor front court, thinking that that's going to contend in the Western Conference. That's what I'm anti. I have no problem. Nurkic on his own is great. Yeah, that's revenge, man. Remember they picked Jokic over him, man. Every time he sees Jokic, that's lunch.
Yeah, no, that he gives him problems, and that wasn't really something I should have considered that more when I was.
It's a revenge game for him, man. Yeah,
I thought I got -3. That was the best number. It closed at -4.5, -5. But yeah, man, that third quarter, they tucked him away in the third.
Yeah,
I pull up the box score for me. I don't have my phone. Tell me how many points the Nuggets scored in the third quarter. It had to be like 12.
It was 44-25 in the third, I believe.
44-25 in the third. Yeah, I mean, Anthony Simons went crazy.
Yeah, 44-25 in the third.
Yeah, 44-25. So it was over after that. They were done. It was
Nuggets were up 5 at half and ended up losing by 25. So it was quite the turnaround in the second half.
Yeah. So they tucked him in too. You know what it kind of reminded me of? We talk about this all the time too, and then we'll finish up the NFL and then come back.
Portland also 4-0, by the way.
Yeah. We'll come back to this NBA talk. But it reminded me of when Golden State just would come in waves and just demoralize you.
In
That
the
was
third
what
quarter.
it was. It was
Yeah.
like Dame come down, bang. Anthony Simons, bang, off the screen, bang, bang. It was like, man.
Dude, the third quarter has proven to be the most important quarter in NBA games for a while now.
Yes.
Like, if you want to watch if you only want to watch an NBA game, but you only want to watch it for 20 minutes, watch the third quarter. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
Facts. 100%.
Third quarter is pivotal.
Close the half and then the third quarter.
Yep. Golden State's been doing that for years. Third quarter runs and no one can beat them.
Yep, exactly right. So, all right, let's go back to the NFL really quick. Couple of things going on NFL Week 7. Let's talk about this Matt Ryan thing really quick because I have a specific question for you. Sure. Because as much as I don't like Matt Ryan, I thought this could have been handled a little differently. Now, Matt Ryan gets benched after 7 games for Sam Ehlinger of Texas, formerly. Mobile guy. Apparently, Frank Wright said he's been really good in practice. Likes what he sees in practice, so he's going to go with him. And he said he made it clear to Matt Ryan that, hey, this is our fault too. We told you you'd have a grade A run game. You do not. We told you you'd have good protection. You do not. We told you we'd have a top caliber defense like we did previously in the last couple of years. We do not. So it was almost like he apologized and said, hey, for all those reasons, you're getting back there. You're back there getting killed. So we're going to go with Sam. Now, I have a question quick. Mm-hmm. We are on wax for multiple years now telling you Matt Ryan is not an NFL quarterback. You can go through my Twitter. You can go through anything you want. At any point, I was in Atlanta and I sent out an Instagram story of Mercedes-Benz Stadium and the caption was Matt Ryan's not a Hall of Famer. Like I've been trying.
But over the last year, I can count on 3 times that I could think of that which you put money behind Matt Ryan though, which is.
Yeah, I think
I know you put him in I saw the MSG commercial where you put him in the black book like he's done.
Yeah,
that was great. That was great, by the way.
Yeah. So there's sometimes you got to back bad quarterbacks in the NFL. That's where the value is, wherever the number lands. But yeah, that's correct. Now, as much as I don't think Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer, I truly believe that. I don't care how many top 10 lists he's on. I also believe that he's just not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's been brutal for the last 3 years. Very Eli Manning-esque. Turns the ball over at an insane rate, actually.
You're in New York now. You better call him 2-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning before the boys come out for you, man.
Alarming turnovers throughout his career, right? Mm-hmm. Especially the last few seasons. I say that to say this, man. They easily could have said, and I think he should have said this, Frank Wright should have been like, it should have went and had a conversation with Matt and said, hey, we're going to bench you. But doesn't Matt Ryan deserve to have the shoulder narrative be the reason? His shoulder's banged up. He's going to sit down until healthy.
Well, they kind of tried to have it both ways.
But he never gets healthy, and he just never makes it back.
Yeah.
Is there a reason to publicly bench him and say, hey, yeah, we're going to go with Sam? They owe him an insane amount of money, like $25 or $27 million this year. Don't quote me on that number, but it's a big number they owe him this year, and they owe him guaranteed money next year.
Great.
How do you feel about how the Frank Wright and the Colts went about the situation?
So I feel like they kind of tried to have it both ways. Like they said, we're going with Sam for the rest of the year, which is the definitive statement, right? But I think what prompted the benching was the shoulder situation. But it's like, hey, we're taking him out because of the shoulder, but even when the shoulder heals up, he's not going to be our quarterback. So I feel like they did kind of try to have it both ways. But no, man, I don't think he owes him any of that, especially after what they went through with Carson. Remember, he's still burnt from the Carson Wentz experience last year where he thought he had a guy, his guy, knew him in Philly, thought that he was going to be that finishing piece, and then Carson Wentz just shit it all over the place for him. So I think now he's just like, fuck it, man. I'm going to go ahead and hit this restart right now because this Frank Reich seat is very, very hot. Very, 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 very hot. People smoldering. Because he's been saying, hey, we just need a quarterback. We just need a quarterback, which is funny. They could have just killed all this and just stuck with Percent 2 years ago and saved all these draft picks and all this cash and drafted a quarterback. But that's neither here nor there. Actually, no, you go back 3 years. It was Rivers first. They went Rivers, then they went Wentz, then they went Ryans. So
Yeah.
they have just keep trying to roll out these has-been quarterbacks as what's going to try to work. When in the reality of the last 3 years, you could have just developed one. So that's neither here nor there. So as far as the respect, no, because he's been playing like shit. Did you see the picks that he threw last week? Egregious. We talk about egregious picks. This guy is throwing insane picks. The first pick the second pick I think he threw last week was unforgivable. You should have got a misdemeanor for it. It was terrible. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, when you're out there, like, for real, bro. That should have been 500. Hey, punishable for up to $1,000 and 60 days in jail. Fuck out of here, man. No driving for a month, type shit. So, no, I don't think he owes them any more than that. He owes the fact that this is a 17-game season. You get an extra game to turn around. You're only 7 games in, and you need to turn around. On top of that, it's not like Ryan was playing okay and you're going to the young guy. Why not see what you have at Ellinger? I thought Ellinger was terrible at Texas, but it is what it is, man. Like, throw him in there, see what you got, because it's not happening with Matt Ryan. Not when you're turning the ball over like that, man. It's one thing to be ineffective. It's another thing to keep giving the ball to the other team, and he keeps giving the ball to the other team, and he just went through that with Wentz. So, no, I don't think he owes them anything, man. I'm surprised you're coming with this take right now.
Yeah, I just think on a respect level, you brought him over there, you paid all the money for him, you did all
still
that.
Getting paid, right?
Yeah, I understand that, but come on. I think they could have went about this a little different way.
Matt Ryan is signed, sealed, and delivered his legacy, man. Like, it's not like, and I'll give you a New York one. It's not like when McAdoo benched Eli for Geno Smith for no apparent reason, right?
Well,
it's not that type of situation.
It's not. Why not?
Because I think that was different. There was no reason to bring in Geno Smith. You weren't really trying to get a look at Geno Smith, and it was like week 15. The season was over. You know what I mean? In this situation, like, you still have a season that you can try to save. Through it all, they still won 3 ball games, right? Aren't they 3-3-1?
They're 3-3-1, and they're second in the division, only a game back, right? So that's why they made. If they think they can still make the playoffs,
Matt Ryan can't overcome your deficiencies that you have back there. You just talked about all the things that they don't have. If you have all those things, then great. Matt Ryan can kind of guide you through it. But now you're asking Matt Ryan to go out there and make plays that his body isn't capable of making anymore.
What I'm saying about Matt Ryan is, you brought me over here, you paid me all the money. Now, like he said, you promised me a running game that's not there. You promised me some protection, which is not there. That's the only reason I came to the Colts. Protection, a top-level run game with Jonathan Taylor, and a good defense, a soft division where we'd have a chance to win the division and then potentially make some noise in the playoffs.
You're acting like Matt Ryan had a bunch of suitors in the offseason. For the Colts, it's only a job that was available for him.
No, I'm sure he could have went other places. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but they went. Listen, don't hand select me, promise me all this stuff, and then through week 7, a game back in the division, go with Sam Ehlinger. That might be the right decision, but it's a respect thing where they could have said, hey, shoulders banged up, and he just never comes back. I'm giving here, hey,
his
Matt Ryan,
was disrespectful.
His play on the field has been disrespectful. But you have been brutal. We're gonna go with Sam Ehlinger and then sit on the bench, my boy. Like I think they could have handled it in a better way. That's all I'm saying. For as much as I don't agree, as much as I wouldn't say Matt Ryan, is not that man. Like, he's not the guy that's can produce and win games for you. I think they could have handled this differently.
So you're fine with the benching, but you think they should have. So don't you think it's almost disrespectful then to come out and lie like, hey, this is about the shoulder, even though Matt Ryan knows his shoulder's healthy enough to play? Like, give him the respect of being straightforward and honest, man. Like, I'm the type person. Tell me the truth. Tell me how you feel.
What I'm saying is, you have the real conversation with Matt. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you come out and you're like, yeah, Sam Ehlinger's the look.
But you're still going to dress Matt Ryan. That's the thing. If you come out and say his shoulder is unhealthy for him to play, you can't dress him for the rest of the year. He's their backup.
Then don't dress him.
Then who do you go to? Who do you call?
I don't know. Somebody else.
Jim Sorgi?
No, I'm not saying you shouldn't dress. I'm not saying you shouldn't dress him. But what I'm saying is that he essentially just ended his career in week 7 as a starting quarterback, and it could have been handled in a better, more professional manner.
I would say,
in my opinion,
I would say that Matt Ryan ended his career in weeks 1 through 7 as a starting quarterback.
Listen, I get that. I understand that. You know what I'm? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not good
I don't
enough
agree,
to
but
start.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like that's
I
fine.
disagree.
But you also brought me over here, and now you're just gonna, you're just gonna bench me like that. I feel like it could have been handled a different way. It's a tough business.
His seat is so hot though. He's not even thinking like, yeah, I feel you, but the seat is
tough,
hot.
It's a tough business, and they have a chance to win the division. I understand that, and maybe Frank just wanted to be upfront with everybody across the board and say, hey, this is what it is. I'm going with Sam Mellinger, and then kill any questions about what's going on. But I don't know. I felt like it could have. I don't know, man. I always just look out for my people, and I feel like he didn't really look out for Matt right there. He's like, yeah, this boy is weak. I'm going with Sam Mellinger. Sorry.
Yeah, well, Matt didn't look out for him, man. He just got burned by wins. I'm telling you. The last 2 years, he's been burned by. He's given like $70 million to Winston Rivers over the last 2 years, and got nothing to show for it.
Matt's
over here
really
losing games to Jacksonville.
Matt not really looking out for him either.
Matt's not looking out for me, and Matt is fine. We pick up 40 M's to do this. He's fine.
Yeah, he's getting paid quite a bit of money. But I thought that was an interesting angle.
Go back to Bankhead and take this money, and you're fine.
Yeah, there could have been a different way to handle it.
I mean, but that division is so trash that it's crazy that's the worst division in the NFL, and it's completely up for grabs. So, I mean, Tampa doesn't want it.
Yeah, no.
Tampa's
not in there. That's NFC. That's the NFC South. You're talking about the NFC South. AFC
South. Why I keep putting them with the what's it called? With the
Colts, Titans, Texans.
Titans. Yeah, another ass division too.
Yeah,
Titans, Colts, Texans, Jaguars.
Yeah. So yeah, you already know. All right, let's move over to Brady and Rodgers. We were talking about that a little bit offline. I didn't even want to cover this, to be completely honest. Like, let me give you my take on Tom Brady. It's really ugly off the field for him right now. I don't think, my guess is that we know that he's dealing with the Giselle thing. We don't know, how much he's seeing the family and dealing with all that stuff. I don't know how good his relationship is with his teammates in a lot of aspects. You know what I see, Tom?
You're looking at him sideways.
You know what I see, Tom, right now? He's at an empty ass crib by himself. There's like takeout and shit.
It's that fresh Prince shit where he's looking around the house.
Yo, look, and there's like takeout. There's empty TB12 supplement bottles all over the crib. He's like, yeah, come in.
Yeah.
Oh, like, Tom, you in there?
Let me turn the light on. Yeah,
come in, yeah. And he's knocking TB12, and he's knocking TB12 bottles off the table.
Got the Pornhub on refresh.
Yeah, and like I think he's just going through it right now, right?
Dog.
So off the field, we always talk about this. When off the field is rocky, bro, you're on the field is going to be rocky.
About your own life, man. You ever got into it with your girl real bad the morning before work, and the whole work day is just
100%. It's no different.
Off. Can't present. Can't gather notes. Phones, text messages going off every 5 minutes. It's like, fuck, man, I can't deal with this.
Different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Tom is dealing with. His home life is all shattered. Who knows where he's living or who's there? Who knows let's keep it real. This is the No Catch Up podcast. He might have some joints around. That's taken, you know what I mean? That's taking some attention away from him. And I don't know this for facts, but this is just me thinking about the potential stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
He's yelling at his teammates. Who knows how good that relationship is? They are completely out of sync on offense. Well, Mike Evans signing autographs after the game with the refs was so egregious that it spoke to me in a lot of ways of how not locked in they are. He didn't seem upset about the game. They just got smoked. He just dropped a 60, 70-yard touchdown pass in the game. He's signing autographs with the refs after. It's just it's all bad for Tom right now and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
When you want to talk about locked in, and I was shocked when I saw him at Kraft's wedding on a Friday night. Like, look, man, you and I are both like, yo, go live your life. These dudes have lives. We can't expect them to be, militaristic 7 days a week. But on the Friday before a game, you're in New York City, and you have a game on Sunday, and you're at a wedding kicking it. Like, I thought when I saw those pictures, I was like, yo, that's absolutely crazy. Yeah. And especially amid questions on whether or not you're all in, right? You missed the time in training camp, right? Obviously, the season started off slow. You have all the other questions surrounding you. Is he in? Is he out? You retire? You unretire? You get your coach fired. Like let's keep it real. You got your coach fired 100%. And then this is the product that you're putting out there. Like, yeah, man, it's a lot of questions. So I think the whole, like, is he locked in? Are his teammates rocking with him? Normally, we wouldn't care about Tom Brady yelling at anybody on the sidelines. Tom Brady's been yelling at folks on the sidelines forever. But when you put it in with all this other stuff, and some of these dudes are like, what about those 3 weeks you missed in camp? What about where were you at on Friday, bro? We weren't at Robert Kraft's wedding, living it up with Meek Mill and all them boys. Like, come on, man. We're in the middle of a season. So, like,
and you know what's even worse about this whole thing with that element is no one can really say that to Tom.
Yeah.
But people are talking about that shit.
For sure.
Like in the background.
Yeah.
They see Tom like, oh, Tom, what's up, baby? Like, but like, this motherfucker's not even showing up to shit. Like, no one's like, no one has the stature to pull up to Tom and be. Literally, the head coach doesn't have the stature to pull up to Tom and be like, hey, man, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you like what?
And Todd Bowles, first off, Todd Bowles' voice like, "Hey man, what you doing, man? Tom, man." Why does he talk like that? Hey, yo, Tom, man, he was at Robert Kraft.
Todd Bowles does talk like that, but it's that situation where he's not asking Bowles to do this stuff. He's telling him what he's going to do, and Bowles, nobody has the stature to be like, yeah.
But which is funny because his problem with Arians was that Arians wasn't all the way locked in. Wasn't that his problem with Arians?
But I also think Arians would be the guy that would tell him, like, yo, what the fuck?
You saw what Arians told AB?
Yeah. Like, so that whole element is very, very interesting. They got shut out until the fourth quarter. They kicked a field goal in the fourth quarter, just almost like to put some points on the
Carolina Panthers.
I guess, you know what I mean?
Beyond shambles.
32 for 49. 5.9 yards an attempt for Thomas Brady. It's all bad over there, man.
He still doesn't throw interceptions, which is great. Only one pick on.
Well, it's hard to throw interceptions when you don't. He's not really throwing the ball downfield like that.
Yeah, so, and look, you talk about that Evans drop. I thought that the whole autograph thing was crazy. I know the league is now looking into it because the officials should not be getting autographs from players in the tunnel.
That's insane.
That was at least I'm happy with it. Mike. Hey, Mike. He's like, Mike. Like, what the fuck?
Multiple refs.
Yeah, multiple refs coming up. That situation is bad, man. The only saving grace is it's a shit division. So they do have time to turn around.
Yeah.
But to your point, I don't know if you necessarily have the guys or the head coach that has the pull to kind of turn that thing around. Like, what's Todd Bowles going to do? Talk to you about how he led the fucking 3-13 New York Jets and how they turned their season around. Like, he doesn't necessarily have the cachet to go in there and start kicking ass like it needs to. But that's an unfocused club for sure. That is an unfocused team. There were questions coming in, but you didn't think it was going to look like this. There's no reason they shouldn't be 5-2, 6-1. Schedule's been pretty easy. So I mean, who have they played? They play the Panthers, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Saints, the Cowboys, and the Packers and the Chiefs. So I mean, outside of
the Chiefs,
that they should be 6-1.
Yeah, like let's be honest. If we're holding the standard that Tom has been held to his entire career, they should be 6-1.
Yeah.
So let's move over to our boy or my boy.
Shout out the black head coach getting the win out in Carolina though.
Yeah, he's throwing people
out. He's throwing people off the team. Throwing cats. He's throwing Robbie Anderson trying to get out of here.
Players.
I'm not dealing with this. I'm not having it. Steve Wilkes. Shout out Steve Wilkes. He got screwed out in Arizona. They only gave him 1 year with Josh Rosen as quarterback and then fired him. But we know how that goes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
no question.
Matt Rule's getting $60 million to not show up to work. So I digress.
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is also struggling. Yep. Matt LaFleur apparently forgot how to call offense. I've been telling you about LaFleur for a while, too. That's a whole nother conversation.
Sure.
They haven't been playing well. Rodgers hasn't looked good. I almost think this Devontae Adams departure is getting too much attention. He's not filling all these gaps.
He's filling a lot of them.
He's filling a few of them. He's not filling all these
Their
gaps.
receiver play has been absolutely brutal, though.
No, it has been. But people
there's a bigger issue.
People are talking like if Devontae Adams was around, they'd be 7-1 or 6-1. It's nah, I don't know about that. There's a lot of issues with this squad. They cannot stop the run whatsoever. People run up and down the field on the Packers week in, week out.
The Bears
and then they can't run the ball. So they give up tons of rushing yards weekly. Then they can't run the ball. Then they ask Rodgers essentially to just throw the ball all over the yard to a bunch of guys that are suspect.
Very.
And Rodgers can't get it done. It's too tough. So Where are you at with the Rodgers situation? Are they done? Are you leaning them not making the playoffs? Can they make a run back at Minnesota and win the division? What do you think?
Aaron Rodgers has been covering up the warts on this team for the past 10 years.
Facts.
Been covering up the warts on this team for the past 10 years, right? So that's why when you do pull away Devontae, right, it's not just that Devontae is some world beater. He is, but it's not like Devontae plays defense and runs the ball.
It's a team game, yeah.
But when you take a special player like Rodgers, right, and he's going to get his criticism in this Packers start because it is on him as well. But when you take a special player like Rodgers and you add a top-tier wide receiver like Devontae Adams to the mix, you are able to cover up a ton of your warts on offense, whether that's stuff about you can't run the ball, whether that's your inability to pass protect, whether that's a lack of creativity in play calling from your head coach, right? All those different things are taken care of or covered up to some extent when you have Rodgers and Adams, right? You have two of the very best at their position. So when you peel away one of those things, right, it does make a massive difference because now all you really have is Rodgers, right? All you really have is Rodgers. We can talk about David Bakhtiari. Guy's been hurt for 4 years, right? I get it. He's a great offensive lineman when he plays. But if I hear another David Bakhtiari's out on this play, guy's out every fucking other day. And it's been this way for years, right?
Yeah.
So you cover up all those things by these great players. And the more great players that you lose, the more those warts start to come to the top. Aaron Rodgers can't cover this entire thing up. So you talk about LaFleur. Yeah, man, it's easy to call plays when you have Rodgers and Adams. When you pull those guys away, what do you have? You have Nathaniel Hackett. And folks like that, you understand what I'm trying to tell you right now? Like, it's easy. It's easy when you have that kind of talent in the building. So when that talent leaves, now you actually have to step up. Rodgers has to do more, right? Your running game has to do more. LaFleur has to do more. And some of these guys aren't equipped to do more. That's what it comes down to, man. We can't look at teams like the Bears and some of these other squads and be like, oh, you can't get it done without talent. And then look at the Packers and be like, well, why are they struggling? It's clear. They don't have the talent and they don't have the coaching to overcome it. So, yeah, the Adams thing is absolutely massive. It was always going to be massive. All the people in the offseason who were like, well, this is actually going to make it better because he's not forcing it to Devontae Adams. You want to force the fucking ball to Devontae Adams. There's a reason that he had 150 targets a year. 160 targets a year. He's throwing the ball to him 10 times per game. That is huge part of your offense that's out when you replace that with Romeo Doubs and Christian Watkins and an over-the-hill Randall Cobb, who all of a sudden you're relying on his wide receiver number one. Like, come on, what are we talking about here? So, yeah, that stuff matters. And, yeah, it causes Aaron Rodgers to break the plays and go off and do his own thing and start to play hero ball, which may have worked 15 years ago when he was throwing Hail Marys to win games. But guess what? He's a 35, 36-year-old quarterback right now. Like, yeah, all those things matter. And then on the defensive end, you thought this defense would be a lot better. But again, defense plays differently when they know they have an offense on the other end that can score 30. When you don't have that, and now you're actually relying on your defense to stop people and to stop them from scoring because you don't have the offensive firepower at the other end, everything looks differently. So, yeah, man, this thing's about to get a lot uglier before it gets better.
Yeah,
they just lost to the Commanders.
They go to Buffalo
against
next
Heineke.
week, too.
By the way, shout out Tyler Heineke. I've been saying since the day one they never should have replaced Buddy with Wentz.
Hey, Heineke, if you
He's
ever,
nice.
Heineke, if you look at it, if you look at his face in the helmet, he looks like he should have been playing like in 1945.
Like she's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, he got that like no face mask face. Like that's
Yeah.
what he looks like. He should have the leather helmet on.
I fucks with Heineke, man. He's solid, man. So, I think again, like that. So it's not just losing Adams; it's what Adams represented to that team, and as far as just the Band-Aid that he was for how shitty they are.
The Packers' best offensive skill player is Aaron Jones. And week in and week out, he flat out doesn't get enough touches. Last week against the Commanders, he had 8 carries, 9 receptions, 8 carries, 12 total rushes for the Green Bay Packers last week. That is just not balanced enough to get it done on the road, especially with the offensive skill wide receivers they have, all the stuff that you just went over with Rodgers. So, yeah, man, it's going to get ugly out there. They have to go to Buffalo on Sunday night and play the Bills in upstate New York or West New York and Buffalo. So, yeah, it's going to get tough. That defense is tough, too. That's a tough place to play. So, yeah.
And they're rolling.
we said this a couple years ago. The Packers were, or the decline was on the way when the relationship with Rodgers was fractured, and we're starting to see it right now in living color.
Which a lot of it is his doing. I know you love Aaron Rodgers and you don't want to criticize him on anything, but if you're going to sit here and tell me that the way that he's handled the last 3 off seasons haven't put a black cloud over this franchise and got in the way of doing other things that could maybe making this team better over the last 3 years, then you're crazy, man. I'm sorry.
But
he
it's
acted
more
like a
of
child.
the dark cloud.
He acted like a child. You make your bed and you lie in it. I'm not saying that it wasn't their fault initially.
It's more of the dark cloud that they cast over the offense by not drafting a skill player for 15 seasons in a row.
Then leave. Then just leave. If that was the case, then you should have just came out and said, "Get me out of here." Not this. Oh, it's a beautiful nightmare, and let me go on McAfee and mushrooms and hyacinthia and all this stuff. And fucking Joshua Tree, it's all great. Like fucking just say, man, I want to get the fuck up out of here. It's pretty easy, right? Don't do this whole thing and then you sign for $50 million and it's all good. That's my point, man. Like, hey, don't absolve him of all this weird shit, dude. Let's not, bro. Come on, man. I know you love this guy. I know this is your man's. I know this is the greatest quarterback you've ever seen. I know you wanted to get his jersey a few years ago and all this, but come on, man. It's weird activity. He's been a fucking weirdo for a few years now, and the shit is finally catching up. And I'm not saying it's not their fault, because the stat last week was, or 2 weeks ago, when he threw the touchdown to Mercedes Lewis, that was the only first-round draft pick that he's ever thrown a touchdown pass to. So, yes, they have failed miserably at surrounding him with talent, and he should be pissed. But if that's been the case for the past 15 years, so you should have just said, get me the fuck out of here, like many of other quarterbacks have done. Not this weird thing of what you're doing and all this other stuff and age of discovery and weird shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I hate
anybody else, you would have been fucking crucifying him for that shit.
This is a lot more the Packers' fault than Aaron Rodgers' fault. That's me. Period.
What came first, man? Was it the chicken or the egg?
It's a classic.
The whole fucking coop in Green Bay came first. That's what happened. It's a disaster. And watch. When I can't wait. And it's not because I hate the Packers, because I'm not your Bears fan who's like, oh, I hate the Packers, I want to kill them, right? Like, I just think it's going to be so funny for these arrogant-ass Green Bay fans when you finally don't have a quarterback, because you have had Hall of Fame quarterback play for 35 years straight. Most Packers fans, have no idea what it looks like to be on the other side. Well, guess what? It's coming, and it's a dark, dark place.
It is a dark place.
It's a dark place.
It's a dark place.
You want to wake up on Sundays lost? Come on. Step into my world.
It's so true. It is a dark place, man. Dark place. You start running out some of these dudes that we
start running out guys
over the years.
Like, who is this?
Yeah,
Shane
man.
Matthews, Jim Miller, Henry
Guys,
Burris.
It's a dark place.
Cordell
man.
Stewart.
That's so funny. It's so true.
The waters get murky, my friend.
Yeah, man. All right, let's jump over to the NBA. Week 1 in the books, man. Portland, just like we laid out earlier, Portland Trailblazers 4-0. We got the
Can
Nets.
I get real quick for you? Real quick?
Yeah.
Before we go NBA, just because I need a quick Sean's New York Pulse.
Last
year I asked Sean's New York. So Sean's out of New York. We all know.
Yeah.
I got to get the New York Pulse. Last year we got the Nets, or last week the Nets Knicks Pulse. I got to know, where are we with the 6-1 New York Giants?
6-1.
4-2.
5-2, I believe.
5-2.
Yeah,
4-2. I thought they went start 0-2 and then won 4 straight. I think they've had a bye already, if I'm not mistaken.
Either way, yeah,
whatever it is. New York Jets, man. How's the city feel? Who does the city love more?
5-2. Yeah, 5-2.
5-2 and 6-1.
Yeah,
I need to know. What's the pulse in the
pitch.
Apple?
It's fever pitch right now. Yes.
Going crazy?
Oh my God, you didn't see Dayball smoking
especially
cigars?
with the Yankees out now, right?
Yeah, the Dayball post game is smoking cigars in Jay's.
Love that guy.
Signing autographs after the game and shit. Like it's fever pitch right now. All the Giants fans are hyped up because it's that very happy, hopeful feeling of we have a coach that knows what the fuck he's doing, and we trust him and we trust what he's gonna do across the board. That's the feeling. And they're winning games. They weren't expected to win games. So they're winning games. This was a situation where it was like, get the right coach. Let's take one final look at Daniel Jones, and then let's move on and rebuild with our new coach.
So do you see, let me ask you this, because I was thinking about this with Jones, right? Because obviously we've been critical of him, but we've also given him praise. I think in year 1 or year 2, after he played the Bears, we were both like, yo, that dude is tough, right?
Yeah.
Like he just he takes
No
a
doubt.
hit and he gets back up, like he does his thing, not a ton of skill, great athlete. Can you see almost like you were talking about it earlier, Daboll's put him in a position where it's run, read, run, 2 reads, run, right? Not too much thinking, guys are in the right spot, deliver the play, which is kind of similar to how Hurts was treated the last couple of years with the Eagles, right? And it got better once you started winning games with that philosophy, or almost developing on the fly. Not give them too much, but we're trusting the other parts of our football team and the coaching to kind of carry us there. Do you see a Jalen Hurts type situation with Danny Dimes? Like he could turn it around and we're looking at next year like, wow, that was the start of something and now there's a completely different guy? Or is it just not there?
It's interesting because Daniel Jones is Jalen Hurts of last year.
Right.
The Eagles didn't really have a lot of talent on the outside. Devontae Smith was a rookie. Devontae Smith was a rookie, so we gotta get him rolling, and then we go get AJ Brown the next year. We fill out the rest of the roster. Then all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. If you trust that, it's all depends on what Daboll thinks. If he thinks that Daniel Jones is that guy and can do it, they might give him a little deal, like a little 2-year Mitch deal. Maybe they can't franchise.
He's not going to be that. He's not going to be that expensive, right? There's no way Daniel Jones, unless the next 11 games or 10 games, he's Joe Montana. Like he's not.
Yeah, no. I mean, he still only has I think he has 6 touchdown passes or 7 touchdown passes. So like he's playing within himself. Daboll's putting him in really good spots. That's interesting, though, because he's also doing this with 0 wide receivers.
No wide receivers.
Like, we know the deal with Kenny Galladay. That dude is just –
Kadarius Toney was a bust.
And he's just not around. And Sterling Shepard blows his knee out again. Yep. So they don't have anybody on the edge that can make plays. And they're winning in spite of all that. So –
and he's not fumbling the ball. Remember, that was one of his big issues.
The reason he was fumbling the ball is because he was standing in the pocket all the time trying to make all this shit happen. Daboll's getting him out of the pocket. He's making it extremely easy for him. Here's read 1, here's read 2, run the ball. Naked bootleg, pick up 15. It's just like he's calling a really good offensive game across the board.
And highlighting his athleticism and his strengths and what he does well. So what do you do? If this continues, do you stick with him for another year, do a 1 or 2 year type deal? Like you said, you can't franchise him. You can't give Daniel Jones $35 million, but yeah.
So maybe you give him a small 2-year deal like Mitch Trubisky got, something of that nature, maybe a little bit more. But
something where if he performs, he can then sign another deal.
Yeah, it's very interesting because maybe it all depends on what the option is. What's the other option? If there's a better option, you go get the better. That's not a better option right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
drafting somebody, but
you go get a better option because I'm going to tell you this. Saquon Barkley is going to force them to franchise him. He is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, and
I've been watching. Go watch. If you haven't been seeing too much of Saquon Barkley and you're listening to this or watching this, go pull up his highlights throughout this year. He's jump cutting. He stopped starting. He against the Jaguars. Another L I took on the weekend. I was on the Jags. He had like 22 or I think he had 22 carries in the fourth by the time they got to the fourth quarter, he had like 22 carries. He wasn't tired even a little bit. He was still finishing runs. He was still doing his thing. He was still being patient. Jump cut, the whole thing, the whole package is there. He's been playing out of his mind. So I don't think they can let him walk, but where I'm
Are you good with that? Considering your stance on running backs in general, are you okay with a 1-year franchise on Saquon? It's not a 5-year deal, but
I would franchise him for I think the franchise number, I was looking at this the other day, it's
18, 19?
No, it's not even that high. It's like 12 or like 12 to 14.
For sure.
McCaffrey's making like 15. Now he's like at the top of the food chain.
Absurd.
So Saquon will get like 12, 13, 14 tops. I'd have to give that to Saquon, how he's looked, and that offense has been rolling. So on a 1-year deal, yeah, all day.
All right, Jet, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's interesting, man. That's actually a good question because
that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, this is Jalen Hurts. And you save the picks, right? Let's we could go get a first round quarterback, or we can do what the Eagles did and get more talent in those first rounds and build around this guy, knowing that he might be our best option for this year and the next.
Yeah, you just got to leave it in Dayball's hands. I trust Dayball to make the right decision, and you got to determine what the other option is for Dayball. But yeah, it's fever pitch in New York around the Giants. They're very excited. The two things I wanted to see coming into the year for the Giants and the Jets were the Giants was Dayball, and can he get some of that Josh Allen magic? Because remember, Dayball developed Josh Allen in Buffalo. Can he make Danny Dimes?
And Allen was rawer than Daniel Jones.
Can he make Daniel Jones look better or like a competent quarterback? He has done that. He's changed the attitude and the culture for the Giants. And then the storyline for the Jets to switch over to the AFC.
Yeah, give me the Jets.
Was how
the Jets are the secondary team in New York, correct?
Yeah, it's
like a Cubs Sox type situation.
Yes,
right.
Yes, 100%.
70,
Mets.
30, 80, 20.
It's Mets, Islanders, Jets, and it's Rangers, Giants,
and Nets.
And Knicks. Yeah, and Nets. Gotcha. And then the Knicks. You know what I'm saying?
So the Rangers are bigger than the Islanders.
Those are the top. The number one squads are the Rangers, Giants,
clear hierarchy.
Knicks, Yankees. Clear hierarchy, right? The question coming in about the Jets was, are they going to be able to get this is this young talent going to make that big of an impact? Because coming into the year, it was these guys have drafted insanely well. Breece Hall, one of the best running backs coming into the league. Sauce Gardner didn't give up a touchdown in college. Now he's playing corner.
Putting on the cheese head.
Is all this stuff going to translate? And the young guys have translated very, very well. The Quentin Williams is playing out of his mind.
He's awesome.
Kyler Murray.
But God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Remember
yeah.
God bless you. Thank you.
So you talking about Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray? Yeah. So he's playing out of his mind. The run stopper there. He's in the middle wreaking havoc. So all the young guys that they've drafted over the last 2 or 3 years have been really, really good. Robert Saleh's in year 2.
Good coach. I love that guy's head. I like his
whole
vibe. They started off 0-2 or 1-2, and he's like, just watch. They go off and they win 4 straight. Yeah.
So they're winning with not a lot of quarterback play either.
So that was my next question. Zach Wilson, obviously this is year 2. He was hurt last year. Yeah. He got hurt beginning of this year. So he's just kind of coming into form. Where are you with him? This is his 3rd start of the year he just made?
Yeah. And the Jets picked up James Robinson. That's right. Shout out Dante.
That was a big pickup. Great trade.
Breece Hall goes down. They go pick up James Robinson.
Breece Hall was playing out of his mind.
Yeah, who's a good back too. So
where's the Zach Wilson? Where's the Zach Wilson evaluation at this point?
Yeah, you know where this is one of those perfect spots where they're winning, so it's not getting that much attention, but he's not doing anything. Like he's not the reason they're winning games. That I'll tell you that right now. Zach Wilson has not looked very good across the board, but it's one of those situations where it's not getting talked about that much because they're 5-2.
The defense has been outstanding.
Defense has been outstanding. The young guys have been outstanding. So people are focused on talking about that and not Zach Wilson. But yeah, he's not the one, at least not yet. So, and he's not as athletic as Daniel Jones. Like there's no getting
Daniel
him out.
Jones is a crazy athlete. Don't let the skin color fool you. Daniel Jones is a runner of the football, man.
I wasn't gonna say it, but
let's call it what it is.
Daniel Jones
got wheels.
He can tote the rock.
Yeah, he's got wheels.
So yeah, it's the jury is very much still out on Zach Wilson, but it's just a little hushed because they're 5-2, they're winning. So that's it. That's how that goes, man. You know, winning cures all.
Winning cures everything.
Winning cures everything, baby. You are what you're.
Cool.
It's funny. You are what your record says you are when you're winning, and then when you're losing, it's like you start going through rosters, types of details, and everything. So
all right, so I'm gonna keep trying to mix that in, man. That's Sean's New York minute. Anytime I get a good burning New York topic, man, I'm gonna try to cue it up for y'all and give you Sean's quick New York minute, getting the pulse on the East Coast out there for the guys. So
but all the guys at the network are a majority Giants fans. They're fired up. They think
Eli's like the Messiah out. You can't say anything bad about Eli. They might jump you.
Everybody loves Eli Manning, man. He got him 2 rings.
You can't talk bad about him. It's like talking bad about E40 in the Bay. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
You ever meet somebody from San Fran? Don't say nothing about 40 water if you value your life.
Yeah, no. Who's the other guy? Not E40.
Spike's one. Mac Dre.
Mac Dre, that's the
Mac
one.
Dre. Oh yeah, you can't say nothing bad
Yeah,
about
don't say
Mac Dre.
nothing. Yeah, Mac.
I said Mac Dre was whack. So I went to school. Sean and I both went to school in Arizona. A lot of Bay Area characters.
Yeah.
I said Mac Dre was whack my freshman year, and it was almost some problems, man. It got hairy.
It got sticky quick.
It got real sticky.
Got real sticky real quick.
Yeah.
So that's the situation out here. I faded the Giants now 2 weeks in a row. They've got 2 W's in pretty amazing fashion. Yeah. 2 comeback wins. The Ravens folded.
I think I was on the Giants.
The Jaguars folded, and they both got the W's.
I was on the Giants in the pick 'em. I thought that was pretty clear.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's where we're at. So New York is happy about their football squad. But let's move over to the NBA really quick before we go 2 weeks. We're going to go 2 hours on y'all. But let's go to the NBA. Week 1 in the books. Man, we still have concerns about Ben Simmons.
Lots more fouls than points this year. 17 fouls and 14 points.
We still have concerns about Ben Simmons. He's still trying to get locked and loaded. The Portland Trailblazers are 4-0.
Listen, hey, is this the Dame Lillard? Well, let's hit on that real quick. Is this the Dame Lillard revenge tour? Did Dame hear what we were saying? Did you see the memes?
Did I? No,
No, I'm saying did Dame see the memes? Did Dame hear what we were talking about? The jokes about loyalty and all that? Because Dame is out here hooping.
Yeah, right well, now. Dame took a year
he's
off.
A hooper. We know, yeah.
Dame took a year off. He's fresh, feels good. We already know how he gets down when it comes down to if you're gonna try to outscore them, they're gonna embrace that and welcome it.
That.
Yeah, they're up for that. So they're gonna come down and try to do they're up for that. So they played the Lakers. Last 2 games they played the Lakers and the Nuggets. The Nuggets had no answer. The Lakers are just brutal, slow pace, slow everything.
I don't know when they're gonna win a game.
Yeah, their schedule is super brutal as well. But what are some of your favorite storylines here? Week 1, Ja Morant looks like the MVP to start off. He picked up right where he left off last year. Yeah. So, what's your favorite storyline so far?
Man, some of these underdog teams kind of coming up, man. Whether it's the Utah Jazz, who you and I were both intrigued from a roster perspective, what it would look like. But I actually watched all. So I've been at the crib with COVID for the past 5 days. So I haven't been able to leave the house, which means I've just watched more NBA basketball than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Got a chance to watch Jazz Pelicans the other day, and Utah is just fun, man. Lauri Markkanen coming onto the scene, starting a little bit, looking like a number 1 option. I think you free him from all those expectations. He looks pretty solid.
They're doing some fun stuff with him, though. He's handling the ball.
Oh, he's doing a lot. They're doing fun stuff in general over there. Yeah, they're doing fun stuff in general over there. But what stuck out to me is Philadelphia and Miami both struggling to start the year. The flip side of that, until last night when they got thrashed by the Bulls, I was pleasantly surprised at how Boston had started. I thought that there would be some early season hiccups with them just with the Udoka situation, but I love how they've started. But I've been really shocked by Philly and Miami not hitting the ground running. Miami's had a tough start to the season. I think Philly has too, as far as the opponents that they're playing. But yeah, kind of shocked by that. Obviously, like you said, Ja Morant looks like he's coming for that MVP. Shocked that Kawhi came off the bench the other day.
Yeah, that really threw me. But
I don't understand the narrative. It's like oh yeah, it's gonna say, but couldn't you just play him less minutes and have him start? Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Some of these young guys, man, New Orleans has been exciting. We've been tuning into a lot of games with them. Your Knicks 2-1. Saw a little start there, a little hiccup for the first game, but have won 2 straight. So
they went to overtime, and then they have to win. So we're talking about the Knicks. They played the Memphis Grizzlies game 1. They went to overtime and lost. Then they played the Pistons and the Magic, and then they play one more cupcake on Wednesday. I can't remember who it is, but then they go to Milwaukee. They go to Philly. Yeah. They on the road. They have a lot of tough.
Somehow
games.
Milwaukee's only played 2 games this year.
Yeah, Dallas has only played 2 games too. I don't understand.
That was another thing. Either. It's like, where's Milwaukee? Another shocker is where's Milwaukee's games? Because I'm trying to see the Bucks and they've only played 2. Now, obviously, they've looked good in both those games. But yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy yet. It's still early. But I'm already out on the Lakers. I was out on the Lakers in August. But I think Philly, I guess, would probably be the biggest shock. Because you've gotten some solid games from Embiid and from Harden. I think Harden looks good.
Yeah.
But they still are trying to figure some things out with them. I think they need to really embrace Maxey. as kind of almost that number 2 guy for them. But
yeah, one guy I do want to talk about is Paolo Banchero.
Oh, it's a player.
I mean, I don't want to stay unstoppable. I can't use that. But he has looked sensational to start the year. I want to say 25 plus in 3 of the 4 games they played. They're 0-4.
Team is ass, but
yeah. But he if he gets the ball free throw line extended and below, it's a basket.
Yeah, can't shoot.
No, he can shoot.
19% from 3, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm not talking. He's not a 3. That's not his game.
Yeah, it's not his game.
He's not. He's not. That okay. That you're right about that. He's not. He like I said.
Not yet.
Free throw line extended and below.
Yeah.
He catches that, and if he doesn't have to put it on the deck either, forget it, dog. He's so big. He's such a big body. Footwork is crazy. Offensively, insanely talented.
Way better ball handler than I thought.
Yeah, this is face up, back to the basket, whatever you want, down under the free throw line. Free throw line extended is a bucket. So he's tough.
I'll say this on Paolo, man. First off, I knew that he would be good. He's one of those guys, like, we don't watch a ton of college ball, but when you do, certain guys stand out. And I was watching him at Duke, and I'm like, this is the type of guy that is going to benefit from the wide open, free flowing style of the NBA. Like, he's just built. He's just an NBA guy, NBA body, NBA game, NBA skill set. Completely hamstrung by college, where you're coming up and running sets every other single play.
Yeah.
Like, this guy just needs to get the free flowing, allow him to use his skill set. Another thing, and I got to give a shout out to our guy Terry. He watched a ton of college ball. He told me last year, he goes, Paolo Banchero is Ben Simmons with a jumper and offensive, like aggression. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't really see the playmaking or anything like that.
Yeah.
He was 100% right. Like, not quite the point guard that Ben Simmons is, but as far as running offense through Banchero, you can do that. Like, he has that ability to have some offense ran through him. He's a huge body, great athlete. And just when you look at that modern kind of prototypical what you want from an NBA wing tweener type guy, it's Banchero, man. And if that jumper starts falling, this guy's going to be unstoppable. So, yeah, if you're Orlando, regardless of what the rest of it looks like, you should be happy knowing that you got this guy for at least the next 8 years, because he's definitely one of those guys. And he's playing the minutes, too. 34 minutes, 33 minutes, 34 minutes, shooting 18, 19 shots a game. Like, he's 100% taking the challenge. We talk a lot about mentality, right? Like, you can look at a Pat Williams type guy, right? Who's just no shot Pat Williams has ever taken 19 attempts. Ever. He hasn't even taken 19 attempts this year, right?
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Banchero, it's like, no, put it on me. I'm here to kind of do that. So, like, look, the mentality is right. Obviously, the game is right. Like, I'm excited to see what happens with him for sure. Absolutely. All in on Paolo Banchero.
23, 7, and 3 a night as a rookie. Going to get opportunities down there in Orlando. Look at his point total. I said in the first game of the year, it was like 14.5.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that should be an over. Like, that's a little too low for a guy like him. The amount of volume he's going to get, I don't see why he wouldn't go over that number. Who's going to get the shots over there? Franz Wagner.
Oh, he's going to get Terrence Ross. Terrence
Ross is going to get his shots up. Cole Anthony's going to get his shots up, but still, man, like he's the guy now.
That thing is built for him, man. 100% built for him. Yeah, shout out him. Cade Cunningham, also good solid start to the year, putting up 18 and 7. Yeah. I like Cade. The young boys are nice.
Yeah, no, Jaden Ivey. Points, rebounds, assists have been going over. He's been playing really well. So
saw some Walker Kessler the other day for Utah. Shout out Walker Kessler.
Yeah. You want to talk about this Russell Westbrook situation?
Oh man, let's talk about it. I was watching that game against we were literally just talking about the against Portland the other day. Yeah. And the only reason I put it on is because the Lakers were up like 6 or 7 with 5 minutes left.
You were the only one in the chat. I was watching Sunday. I was watching football, and Nick's like, "Yo, I have to watch this Lakers."
I was like, "I have to watch this Lakers game because I want to see how bad they collapse." Dog, listen, man. And I knew that they were going to lose the game. It's bad. It's just a bad roster, and it's bad Westbrook. Like, we're talking like bad Westbrook. He came up, they were up 1, and he came up and let that 2 go. If you would have saw LeBron's face, LeBron literally just did this. AD did this. The whole arena was like, oh. The announcer goes, no, Russ, no. and he still let it go. It's almost like it's sad in a way because it's like he doesn't get it. Like he fully doesn't get it. Like there's no way that he's being this bad on purpose and this stupid on purpose unless he just has an extremely low basketball IQ and doesn't understand his limitations at all because he's playing so bad and it's almost like he doesn't know. They asked him after he went 0 for 11 the other day and he said he played fine.
Yeah, he's like solid.
Yeah, like what are you talking about, dude? Like
he's not playing solid.
That's why if I'm them, like, look, man, I don't care how much money you're paying them. This isn't gonna work. It's not gonna get any better. He's shown you for years now this is who he is. Like, you just gotta move on for the sake of your roster because you can't just have him hanging out there. Like, he is terrible.
Let me tell you where Russell
and
Westbrook.
I know you love Russell Westbrook. I know that was your guy for a long time. It's my guy.
I love Russell Westbrook, but this is where Russell Westbrook is at right now. Reminds me of the Carmelo Anthony situation where Carmelo wasn't ready to accept that he wasn't a starter in the NBA anymore that was going to play 35, 36 minutes a night. Mentally, he wasn't there. Westbrook, mentally, and his attitude is not ready. He's not ready to swallow his pride and say, I'm not an A1 top-tier guy in the NBA anymore. He's not that guy anymore. And until he swallows his pride and mentally accepts that he needs to take a back role, potentially even going to the bench, it's not going to work for the Lakers.
Melo wasn't sabotaging his team while this was happening.
But it's not gonna work for anybody. Yeah. Doesn't matter where he goes. Until he's ready to accept he's not a top-tier talent in the NBA and is willing to go to the bench, that's it.
Can I wait? Hold on. So I just pulled up Russell Westbrook's numbers on the year. This is. I mean, it's only 3 games, granted, but Russell Westbrook is shooting 29% from the field on 13 attempts a game, and he's shooting 8% from 3 on 4 attempts.
No, it's really bad.
8% from 3. If you look at his last 6 years, these are his 3-point percentages: 30, 29, 26, 31, 30, and it's all on more than 3.5 attempts per game. So he doesn't even know. He's out there sabotaging.
It's even more of his attitude, though.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck.
The reason Russell Westbrook is who he is because the more he hears people say don't shoot it, he wants to shoot it more. He wants to prove to people that he can shoot it, and that's kind of where we're at. That's where we've been at the last couple of seasons. He wants to prove to everybody that, yeah, I'm still that guy and can shoot it. And until he swallows his pride and determines
it's not possible
and accepts that he's not that guy anymore, he's going to continue not to be an impact, and he's going to continue to run himself out of the league. It was really interesting. I heard our guy Kendrick Perkins on ESPN said Russell doesn't really realize what he's doing, but if someone does trade for him,
you don't want him.
They're going to keep him at home.
Yeah, you don't want him.
They're going to get the picks, eat the money, and leave him off of the roster.
He's not teaching your young guys anything. He's not doing anything for culture.
That's what I mean.
He's a buyout guy. Yeah,
that's an attitude. That's an attitude thing.
And then who brings him in the next year? Like what? It's similar to your Carmelo point. It's like you're one of those guys that when it's the end of the road, you're not going to be like Vince Carter and hang around until you're like 43 because you're great for the locker room, for the culture.
But if you accept that's your role, it could change. That's what it did for Melo.
The only reason he's in the league right now is because he's making $40 million a year. Let's call it what it is. The only reason he's in the league right now is because he's making that kind of money. I don't think no team even wanted to bite at him this year. And that's a $40 million expiring contract. What a way to dump a bunch of shit on the Lakers and just bring Russell Westbrook back because they want him out of town so bad, right? Nobody wanted him. I think the only reason he's in the league right now is because he opted into that deal. And next year, no one's going to come look for him. What we need a backup point guard. Let's go get Russ. We need scoring off the bench. Let's go get Russ. Like, he doesn't fit into any of those scenarios.
But it's the attitude. It's the attitude change,
exactly.
And then that's what
going to.
He needs to. If he wants to be in the league, that's where he needs to get.
That guy. There's nothing about him that tells you his attitude is going to change.
No.
And even if it does, it's temporary. At least Melo was always seen as a chill dude, right? Outside of AOG, they want me to come off the bench. There's not too many Melo sound bites of Melo being an asshole, right? You may hear behind the scenes he's this way, that way in the third. Russ's shit is right in your face. You see exactly how he is, right? You see exactly how he is. And you see shit like the other day against Portland when he comes up and takes that shot in that situation, when everybody knows that's the number one thing he cannot do. He comes up and does it regardless. And then you ask him about it after the game, and he's completely oblivious to it.
He doesn't care, yeah.
That type of shit doesn't go away. Again, you could talk about it with Melo and some of these other guys, but they shut the fuck up, right? What do we talk about, man? It goes back to how you've been your entire career. Why did James Harden evade all that smoke for all those years? Because he doesn't say stuff, and he's generally an agreeable guy. Why are they coming with pitchforks and axes for Russ? Because he's not. And no coach is going to be like, what, a winning team's going to want to bring him in? What does Russell Westbrook do for you on a basketball team right now? He doesn't play D either. That's the other thing. He has zero interest in playing D. So it's not like he's coming out there and playing hard. Like, this is it. I can't see a situation he's in the league next year.
Now, I will say this.
After this deal is up. Unless he goes back to OKC as some type of like whatever.
I think part of it, I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 because I think this is part of it too. He's looking around that roster and he's like, wait, you want me to pass up shots so I can kick it to Lonnie Walker the fourth?
Who's a better option than Russell Westbrook right now?
But let's be honest, the rest of that roster is not solidified to. They don't. There's that roster is garbage.
Roster's ass.
The roster is
LeBron
garbage.
told you. What did LeBron say? We're not a team that's built on shooting.
So I think, but I think part of this whole situation is Russell is looking around like, what I'm gonna do? Kick to Pat Bev to shoot jumpers? We got just to get a shot of me shooting jumpers, and this is not the truth. But this is how he's looking at it. If he was looking at maybe Buddy Hield in the corner, he would reluctantly give up the ball to Buddy. He's looking at Kendrick Nunn and Lonnie Walker the fourth and Austin Reeves, and he's like, man, I'm not giving the rock up to these guys. The roster is really, really, really bad, and it's very magnified with how poorly Russell is doing things, and
I think he's poor on a good roster.
Let me ask you this.
I don't know. I think you could throw him on Golden State. There's not a team in the league you could put him on where it's like, oh, because
not if he's shooting. Yeah, not if he's shooting.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
Roster be damned, right? He sucks. Like, let's just call it what it is.
If he's shooting, if he's shooting jump shots.
If he's shooting, he's always shooting. You can't. We haven't seen any other version of Russell Westbrook, nor have we seen a willingness to have another version of Russell Westbrook on his end. He has shown zero willingness to not be this type of player. I don't think there's a pivot in his game. I don't think he can settle into some other sort of role, regardless of the roster you put him on. That's my point. That's why when I say this is probably the end of the line, like this is the end of the line. Go do something else. Go design clothing. Do whatever. You got a ton of money. It's fine. There's no willingness to kind of have his game settle into some other role.
You know what's interesting?
It's either this or nothing.
If you look back at his career, right, the whole way, he's in Golden State, or not Golden State, excuse me, he's in Oklahoma City, and
should have never left.
That's when he was obviously getting to the basket at an insane rate. He was unstoppable, but he's never been able to shoot jumpers, and he was still shooting jumpers almost to try to keep up with Kevin Durant, right? Like, let me compete and show people that I can shoot it and be just as good as an offensive player. He's
statistically the worst high-volume three-point shooter in NBA history.
As Kevin Durant. Then Kevin leaves. He starts going ballistic with the triple-doubles, wins MVP, does whatever he wants because he doesn't have to answer to anyone. He doesn't have to give the ball to anyone. But he's not shooting just jump shots. He's getting to the basket at will.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Houston. Nothing really going on. Because there's also other talent there that he has to give the ball up. Then he goes to Washington and plays pretty well because he's back to just like going straight to the basket, doing all rebound and doing.
And Bradley Beal doesn't care as long as.
Bradley Beal doesn't care as long as I get my 22 shots. As long as I
get my money.
Yes.
I'll be the richest dude in DC. Right? It's all good.
And then that's when it starts to go downhill after that to where he can't get to the bucket like he could. He can't finish like he could. And then his shooting gets he was a bad shooter. It's even worse now, right? So, yeah, it's an interesting situation.
He also did something I've never seen. Have you ever seen a player get worse at shooting free throws? You know, at one point, Russ Westbrook was an 83% free throw shooter. You know, last year he was at 67%. So you're talking about a guy. Oh yeah, his free throw shooting is it's crazy how bad it's gotten. In 2017, he was 85%. Last year, he was 67%. So you're talking about a 20% dip in free throws by a guy who can't shoot. So it's like, really, what is your value? If you get fouled, you're only getting 67% of those shots too. Yeah. So teams can foul you all day and force you to shoot. They don't even guard this guy.
No, they don't.
There's no reason to guard him. He's an offensive zero that doesn't play defense. So I ask you again, what did his game age into? You talk about the roster. I don't think the roster matters.
Well, let's talk about the Lakers overall as a whole. How does LeBron come into the year with this squad? Does he not know that this team? I don't understand.
Yeah, free LeBron. Free Bron.
He has to know that this roster isn't the answer going in, right? It's almost like I
think he's good.
He might feel that way too.
Yo, hey, listen, that's when the bank account hit 10 digits. Well, no, I'm sorry, 10 figures is $1 billion, right?
Yes.
When the bank account hit 10 figures, LeBron poured himself some very rare red, right?
Out of the custom Ramoa case.
Yes, very rare red, and said it's okay. It's all good. Hey, looked at his crib.
I kind of feel that way too.
Fine. Yeah.
What else can I do? No one's really talking about that.
Yeah.
I don't
think
like
he's pressed.
I kind of feel like LeBron
he's good.
Let me go pick up Kareem's all-time scoring record.
Yep.
I'll do that. But
it's all good.
It's all good. Yeah, like I really think that's what it is.
The podcast came out about how LeBron cheats on his wife. Did you see this? I just typed in LeBron just to pull up his stats, and there's some LeBron juice. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear none of that.
Anyway, so that's kind of how I feel. LeBron's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm cool. Like, he'll never say that out loud, but I think deep down that's kind of where he's at. He wants to win, sure, but he's not very pressed. That's 100%.
Not at all, and nor should he be.
Yeah.
Hey, I think listen, man. Everybody wanted LeBron to chase this ghost of Michael Jordan, right? Like, he was chasing these ghosts these last 5 years. I think he finally said, no matter what I do, I cannot pass this Jordan thing. So why even bother, right? Like, I'm good where I am. At some point, you got to look back at your career and say, look, man, for 20 plus years, I've been the best player in the NBA. I've won
4 rings.
I've won a bunch of MVPs. I've made $1 billion. I'm the greatest scorer of all time, or a leading scorer of all time. My career, no one will ever do this again. I'm good. And now my post life is going to be fucking just laughing. You know, I own a sports agency. I produce movies. I'm negotiating Ben Simmons' next contract.
Yeah, all the Lakers are clutch guys.
And now I can actually, the other issue. Yeah, and now I can actually make my money like front and center, right? I can actually make the clutch money that they claim I'm not a partner in, but we all know whose seeds grew the lawn here. So yeah. It's good. I think he's comfy, man, and as he should be. It was almost kind of it would have been painful for me to think that LeBron is out here killing himself for this year. He doesn't have to, man. You know how I feel about LeBron James. It's signed, sealed, delivered, man, right off to the sunset, make another $10 billion and, you know, be one of the most successful black men of all time. Financially, he will be. So
no question.
Shout out to him, man. Build schools.
Let's do
read the books, actually, though. Read the books.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's do a little quick 10 minutes on the Bulls, and then we'll get out of here. Bulls right now start the season 2-1. Yeah. 2-2. 2-2 for the Bulls. W's over the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. The 2 games we probably thought we should have been L's are wins. And then they take 2 L's against the Cavs and the Wizards. They could easily be 3-1. We were at that. I was at that Cavs game. They got fucking run off the floor.
Yeah, ran off the floor.
But they could easily be 3-1. Two wins against that's a tough L against the Wizards. But how do you feel about the overall look of the Chicago Bulls? Zach LaVine's played 2 of the 4. One of them was in a loss on Saturday. How you feel overall? Same kind of look. We're dependent a lot on DeMar DeRozan to show up,
get used to
a lot of points, and Ayo is playing great outside of 1 game to start the season. What are your thoughts on the Bulls?
Yeah, I think that this is going to be what the Bulls season is going to look like. A lot of ups and downs. I don't think it's going to be a ton of consistency. I was actually talking with Eder about this last night. I think there's going to be nights where the Bulls look great, and it's going to be nights where the Bulls get thrashed. And I don't think there's going to be too much rhyme or reason to it. I will say this. Obviously, missing Zach the first couple games, we're working him back in. Last night, the Bulls were down like 20 in the second quarter to the Celtics and came back and ended up winning by 18. So I think the team's resilient. There's a lot of things
and it was a grind out comeback. It was
very much a grind out.
It was
comeback.
like a grind out, grind them down.
I think Vooch has looked really good to start the year, which is always encouraging.
Yeah.
DeMar is back to his DeMar ways. And like you said, Ayo has been a pleasant surprise. I think that this team's looking real 7th or 8th in the East type squad. So I think it'll be a fun year. I don't think we're going to be shit. I do think we're one injury away though from really tumbling down the roster here. So I'm not big on the trade everybody situation quite yet because I do feel like you got to have a clear understanding of what's going to happen with Zoe before you make that decision.
Yeah.
Which is something we're not encouraged about. You and I talked about it last week. But overall,
I've seen this movie.
Yeah. Something's 100% not right in the Zoe situation.
Yeah.
Guy is out. He got hurt last year in like December. And we're still trying to figure out exactly what the injury is.
Yeah.
My bigger concern would be Zach missing those first 2 games of the year just because we didn't see that coming.
Zach's on a trajectory to play 50 games.
Yeah. So let's just see, man. It's too early to kind of say what they are. But I will say this, man. I saw some stuff on Twitter like, oh, these people jumping down Patrick Williams early. Like, you guys need to be patient. No.
Nah, y'all aren't.
No. We just talked about Paolo Banchero. We just talked about a lot of other young guys. We talked about some of the guys that have been picked ahead of him. Halliburton is putting up, like 24 and 10 right now. And a bunch of other guys that were drafted. I don't know, man. It's put
Halliburton's been scoring crazy.
Been balling.
Yeah.
No, I'm not here for that, man. Listen, watch it. We always say watch the film. If you watch the film on Patrick Williams, it's not right. He hangs out the 3-point line. He doesn't cut to the basket. And Billy Donovan's been benching him the last 2 games. He has benched him the last 2 games. So if you're still holding out some hope for Williams and you're thinking that it's just early and he's shaking it off, you're not watching the film, man. This is a major problem. This was a huge miss, right? We talk about that mentality. We talk about that quote-unquote dog. I know that's overused, but this guy has 0 of that. 0 of that because the opportunity's there.
Yeah.
If you look at what the Bulls need, the Bulls are Patrick Williams away from being a much better team.
100. Right? Yo, that's actually a hilarious way to put it.
They are Patrick Williams away.
They are a lock up, big body wing defender that rebounds and runs the floor and gets and knocks down shots when given the opportunity. Big activity, big energy away from being really good. And he's literally
that's what he's supposed to be.
And that's what he's supposed to be, literally on the roster. And he's not it.
And wait till Buddy.
That's perfectly put.
And Buddy from Arizona, if he's who they say he is, he's going to start stealing those minutes. Like, that's what's next. What's next is like, look, man, we're talking about through 4 games. This guy, I don't know exactly what Patrick Williams' numbers are, but I know they're brutal through 4 games. What is it? He's averaging 5 points a game.
5 points.
5 points, 2 rebounds. He does not have an assist this year.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't want to hear any of that, man. Like, again, you see young guys all throughout the league taking advantage of their opportunity. He has a huge opportunity in a spot where you really need him to do what he does well. And you're playing with DeMar and Zach. So no one's asking you to go out there and be Paolo. But you can't be what you are right now. And I don't see this getting better. This is a player with no confidence. And you heard that interview he had the other day where it's like, oh, it's hard to play with Zach and DeMar. Listen, bro, we could take them off the squad. That doesn't mean that you're coming out like some gangbuster and getting up a bunch of shots. You don't have it in you. So I don't want to hear it, man. Like, you got to show me something. And he hasn't shown me anything.
Well, let me ask you this, because these are similar things we said about Lauri Markkanen. Doesn't have the dog, doesn't have that mentality.
But Lauri was way more skilled.
Yeah, that's true.
Lauri was getting points because he was no.
Lauri's starting to come into his own a little bit for his.
Lauri didn't have number 1 dog mentality. Pat Williams doesn't have number 4 mentality. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Lauri was just like, okay, he's not going to be a number 1 premier type scorer, but Lauri was still giving you 15. This guy.
I mean, it's just forget about everything else, analytics, box scores, whatever. Watch the game. He doesn't make an impact
at all.
At any point.
You're forgetting
Ayo comes in, makes a huge impact. Javonte Green.
Love that guy.
Comes in, makes a huge impact, brings energy.
Javonte's on the floor. Yeah.
Yes.
Every minute.
Pat Williams is on the floor and does nothing.
Nothing.
So it's just really frustrating. He's only 21 years old.
But this is year 3.
Yeah, I mean, 20.
He was hurt last year. I get it,
So,
but
man,
that mental switch is different, though, bro. Listen, man, the
listen,
mentality flip is
say
different.
what you want. Like, people always compare this to as like, oh, what were you doing when you were 21? It's like, bro, you got to grow up a lot faster in the NBA if you've been in there 2 years. It is what it is.
This is 3 years in the league now. Like, you've had the chance to
you know what time it is.
You know the drill.
Yes, exactly right. And it's just a shame to see because, like we just said, the Bulls are a projection of a dream of Pat Williams away from being really good in the East. And he just, the guy we need him to be is not.
And you're losing minutes to you're losing minutes to all these other guys, man. That's the other thing. It's like, listen, man, you're talking about the 4th pick in the draft made by this regime. They want this guy to work out.
Yeah.
No but question. Billy Donovan's benching him. Like, that's saying a lot. He played 15 minutes last night. The night before against the Cavs, he got benched. Like, he's getting benched. Donovan is saying, whatever you're bringing, it's not enough. I don't even want to see you out there anymore. There's no reason this guy shouldn't be playing 35 minutes a night.
Yeah.
He's healthy.
Yeah.
But he looks lost. You look at his face. It's not a face of confidence. He hangs out at the 3-point like he's fucking Jason Capono. You know what I mean? Like,
Jason Capono. Shout out gel hair, spike hair, Jason
UCLA's
Capono.
finest. Jason
That's
Capono had,
wow. I was not expecting to hear Jason Capono.
Hey, that's what happens when we go an hour and 45 minutes. We start reaching back, baby.
Jason Capono. That's hilarious. All right, man. We're going to leave it there. The Bulls. What's the next Bulls game? Bulls have, let's see.
No, it's not tonight, is it?
No, they play the Pacers at home.
And the Spurs.
They play the Pacers at home tomorrow, 8:00 Wednesday in Chicago. That should be a W. Make sure you catch that. Watch Halliburton. He's a lot of fun to watch. And Buddy Hield, if you like him or not, he does have a burner. So, anything else before we get out of here?
That's all I got, man.
Big Nick the Quick, always locked in. Sean Little, always locked in. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Make sure you subscribe everywhere. A little quick hour 40, man. Nothing light out here. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We'll see y'all next week.